know, I planted this kind of fall winter garden to see what would happen with it. Thought I'd kind of show you what's happened. Some things might not be a surprise at all. Some things might be like, oh hey, look at that. Because you know, I think it's really interesting for those that do have a little bit warmer season during the fall time, and there is the possibility for having a garden during the fall. What can we expect? What can we learn from it? And that's just kind of what I'm doing, is, you know, what works and what doesn't. So I wanted to show you what is working and what isn't. So we had our first big frost last night. Woke up in the morning and the grass was all frosted over. Came out, garden plants were frosted over. So now the sun has come out. It's around 10 o'clock in the morning. The sun's out. Some plants are perking up and looking real nice, and some not so much. So let me flip this camera around and show you what's going on. Alright, so these are the collard greens. They're growing up nicely. They withstood the frost really well, and yeah, they're doing just fine. Back over here is, I have my my one little, right here, my one little bell pepper plant. I pulled the bell pepper off of it before the frost, but it's looking kind of sad. We'll see if it perks back up. However, this right here, this is the artichoke. I've got another littler one over here, but this artichoke's looking really great, so it withstood the cold nicely. This might not be a surprise to anyone. my poor tomato plants. I have 3 little tomato plants in here, and they're all looking really sad. So we'll see what happens with them as the sun really starts hitting them, if they bounce back any. However, I have this tomato plant. It's in a pot, so I brought it inside last night, and of course it's still looking good. It's got some tomatoes growing on it. So, I mean, this is obviously the lesson with the tomato plants. If you're planting them in the fall, put them in pots so that they stay nice. They don't wilt. And yeah, these things right here, these little chives, they're still doing all right. They were all frosty this morning, but they still look healthy and good. So I've got mint, lavender, and oh, what was this one? This one was, oh, Italian oregano. So, yeah, they were frosted over this morning, but they're still looking good as well. Okay, so then these are my potatoes. I've got, you know, regular gold potatoes and then some sweet potatoes. Now, I'm not surprised that the sweet potatoes look awful, because I know they're more of a summer plant. This little guy's hanging in there, but I may have to go ahead and pull them up here soon so they don't rot. The potatoes, however, because I know they can withstand the cold better, I'm kind of surprised at how wilty and sad they're looking. So, and this one got attacked by bugs, so I put neem oil on him, and we'll see if he bounces back. But yeah, they're just looking kind of sad there. So we'll see. This part of the yard is in the shade. You can see the sun's over there where it's hitting my other little garden. This part's all in the shade still, so maybe when the sun really comes out and hits on these, they'll bounce back. But if they don't, if they just stay wilty and start to die, I'm just going to have to pull out whatever little potatoes are in the ground at this point. That might just be a lesson to learn with potatoes, that if I am going to plant them in kind of a fall winter garden when there might be frost, that I just need to have them in a part of the yard where the sun will hit on them early in the morning, so that frost can melt off quickly and get the, you know, the leaves to perk back up. It's just about experimenting, learning the science of each one of the plants. So that's where we are with our little garden. I thought I would just put that out there real quick, since there was a lesson moment with the frost, and you know, it's important to know how to navigate through those frost times during a fall winter garden. Okay, well, it's the next day, and I wanted to watch my plants over the course of yesterday when the sun came out to see if they would perk back up, and they didn't really. And then, you know, it frosted over again last night, so that didn't help at all. The tomato plants and the bell pepper, I'm willing to bet that there's still life in the plant. It seems like, you know, it's still guarding life in the stem. The leaves are just super sad. So probably if I were to dig up these plants and pot them and put them in the house and move them in and out of the house, they'd probably come, you know, come back with new leaves and things. But I mean, you have to think, if you've got a garden full of these plants, you know, is that something that you're going to do? Are you going to uproot all your plants and have your house full of your garden? You know, probably not, unless you're just like, you know, really like, we need to save these plants. Of course, you know, a lot of people do kind of the greenhouse tarping over them to help with the winter, either that or when it's like super sunny to help with extra shade, which obviously isn't something I have done this year. And then these poor potatoes, I was really hoping that they would perk back up over here. In fact, this one right here that got attacked by bugs actually looks the best of all of them. So I'm guessing that the yellow gold potatoes are not as resistant as this one. I think this might be a russet potato, which is funny because I planted all yellow gold, but there must have been like a little russet potato mixed in the mix there because the leaves were totally different than the rest of them. And then I'm going to have to go ahead and see if I can dig these up. These are totally toast, these sweet potatoes. This one I think is going to survive. That's kind of interesting. This one right here is doing all right. But yeah, so some of these I'm just going to have to dig up so that they don't rot. So lots of lessons learned. Learning that the yellow potatoes are definitely not as weather resistant. Probably the russet potatoes are more so. And just kind of I'm just making that list, like which plants are resistant to cold weather. And I'm telling you what, like doing a cold weather garden is actually really nice. I don't have to water as much. I don't have to worry about the problems with, you know, the heat exhaustion on the plants and like constantly trying to keep shade on them. I don't have to, there's not as much of a problem with bugs during this time. There isn't as much of a problem with the mold issue. The plants here in the heat and the humidity, they start to get this mold issue. And so it's really nice. It's just finding which plants really thrive during this time. So it's kind of exciting. So I'm excited to continue this journey and being able to have like a full-grown, you know, a full-fledged winter garden so that we can garden twice during the year. I mean, as long as we're here in this area. So anyways, I'm gonna sign off on this for now. Thanks for joining me, and you know, share some of your experiences. If you want to share some things in the comments about what you guys are doing with gardening, if you're still doing a winter garden or a fall garden, I'd love to hear some things that you have found have worked in your fall and winter garden. That would be really cool, so that I'm like, oh, aha. You know. So that's it, and have a great one. Take care. Bye.